Good morning. My name is Jonathan Riddle. I'm a captain with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, and I oversee the Northeast Area Command. Today, we are asking the community's help to identify and bring to justice the individuals responsible for the senseless shooting that left Martha Cabajal with only one eye. On October 5th, 2024, shortly after 7 p.m., Martha was pulling into an apartment complex in the 500 North block of Land Boulevard. When she turned in, a bullet came through her window and struck her in the side of the head. A citizen in the area quickly came to Martha's aid, safely stopping her vehicle, and called 911. As officers arrived, they provided Martha with medical care and searched for the suspects. Witnesses in the area stated they heard multiple shots fired and observed several individuals running through the complex after the shooting. Detectives responded and took over the investigation and started working around the clock to identify the individuals responsible for this cowardly and heinous crime. Detectives were able to locate video surveillance of the area during the time of the incident, which you can now view on the screen to my left. It'll run 2 times, once in regular motion and then again in slow motion. So the suspects will come back through during slow motion. You'll see the first individual there on the far left has a handgun in his right hand as he jumps the wall, followed by a third individual shortly behind them. And they'll run at a camera view through the complex. As you can see, multiple individuals are seen running from the area of the shooting, and one is armed with a handgun, and there's a still image of it there. At this time, detectives have exhausted all investigative means, and we're now turning to the community for assistance. If you have any information regarding this shooting, or if you recognize any of the individuals in this video, please reach out to investigators at 702-828-3404. Or, to remain anonymous, contact Crime Stoppers at 702-385-5555. I would now like to introduce Martha, as she would like to speak to the community as well.
If you can please just bear with me, this was my first time watching that video. Good morning. My name is Martha Cabajal. I want to begin by thanking everyone here today. Your presence means a lot to me and my family during this difficult time. I also want to take a moment to thank the medical professionals, such as my trauma counselor, my psychiatrist, who cared for me and are still helping me today. A special thanks to Dr. Thomas Kelly from Silver State Eye Care Center, who was my surgeon, and Dans and Sons for making my prosthetic. To my loved ones who stood by me and the community who has supported me through the darkest days of my life. On October 5th, 2024, my life changed forever. I was the victim of a senseless crime that not only left me without my eye, but also inflicted pain that words alone cannot describe. While my physical scar is evident, it is the emotional toll, the fear, and the uncertainty that has been the most challenging for me to overcome. There are moments when this loss feels overwhelming, and I feel like giving up. I want to share a moment that has stayed with me since shortly after the attack. I remember sitting in front of a mirror, struggling to see my reflection. I couldn't do it. I cried for days until I finally did it. At first, all I could do, I cried for days until I finally did it. At first, all I could see was everything I had lost. I felt like a monster. But then something changed. Once I accepted the fact that I had lost my eye for good, that gave me the strength to carry me through those days. That reminded me that I have a choice. Either I let this pain consume me or rise above it. And today, I am choosing to rise. I stand before you, not just as a victim, but as someone determined to find answers. Justice has not been served, despite the tireless efforts of law enforcement. We have no suspects or leads. I am making a plea to anyone who may know something, no matter how small it may seem. Please come forward. Your courage could make all the difference, not just for me, but for preventing further harm. Although this crime has profoundly affected me, I refuse to let it define me. I have found strength I didn't know I had. And I am determined to use my voice to stand up for myself and for those that have been victims of violence. I hope that my story inspires action, compassion, and fight for justice. To anyone who may have information, please contact the authorities. And to the community, I ask for your continued support, not just for me, but for all victims of crime. Together we can fight for a future where we can feel safe and where justice wins. Thank you.
Thank you, Martha. It takes an incredible amount of courage to come up here and be vulnerable like that. So our heart goes out to you, and thank you very much for sharing your story with us. This was a senseless act that has horribly altered an innocent woman's life. The individuals responsible for this need to be held accountable. Please help Martha get the peace and justice that she deserves. Shootings such as this one were the driving force behind Sheriff Kevin McMahill's decision to start the Violent Gun Crime Unit at the end of 2024. Again, if anyone in the community has any information regarding this shooting or recognizes any of the individuals in the video, please contact us. The numbers are on the screen again to the left. And with that, we'll take a couple questions.
This is a massive complex where this shooting happened. Do you have any reason to believe that this is tied to gang activity and maybe that's why people aren't speaking out because they're scared?
So the question was, do we think people are afraid to speak out to bring us leads? I do think that that's always a factor, especially with violent crime. If you see that somebody's been victimized, you don't want something similar to happen to you. But I can rest assured that this wasn't a targeted shooting, and it's a very, very unfortunate circumstance with some reckless behavior behind it. So I would say we're in a safe position, and come forward and help us so that these people can be held accountable and they can't behave in such a manner anymore.
How about that video? Why not release it sooner to see if we can make an arrest?
So during the course of our investigation, we try to hold the cards close to our chest so that we don't give out any unnecessary information or leads. And for the continuity and integrity of that investigation, we don't share all of the elements of the investigation at that time.
When I looked at the history of this complex, it looks like there's been several shootings. Is there anything being done about that?
So the question is, there's been several shootings. Have we done anything about that? Yes, we have deployed the violent gun crime unit, as well as we have created a unit within Northeast Area Command that responds to specifically shootings that occur that don't have hits. The potential for a shooting that's not a targeted one or intending to hurt anybody can eventually lead that way. So we've been taking proactive measures and creating new units and details to curb those types of crimes.
Can we just reiterate how cowardly this act was? This woman just went down a dead end and then comes out without half of her vision.
Yeah, completely senseless. And Martha, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but for all purposes, she turned a little late on her travels to and from where she was going that night and ended up in a bad place. She was affecting to turn around and try to get out of the complex when a bullet recklessly came through her window, striking her in the head. Thank God she's still here with us, and hopefully with her help and your help, the rest of the community, we can find these people and make sure that this type of stuff doesn't happen again. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.